Greetings and salutations, and I want to talk to you about standard Hearthstone. Okay, you can see here the top decks win percentage. Now, admittedly, the win percentage is rather close, except for Mage and Druid. They're a little bit low, but the win percentage is rather close. I mean, 47% win rate with Shaman is not bad. It needs to come up a little bit. Priest needs to come up a little bit. These need to come up a lot. But I think that's because they haven't found something truly... I can't really say, like, game-breaking or game-altering. They just haven't found their niche, okay? And it's because you have stronger decks up here that these haven't found these niches. Now, obviously, you take a look at the win percentage. People are playing with new cards. Now, this, in the next few weeks or so, is probably going to become more parabolic. You're going to see Demon Hunter probably have a higher win rate, maybe a lower win rate, depending on how the meta sorts out. The meta hasn't completely sorted out yet. But if we take a look at some of these decks, you can see, let's just sort by, not games, but win rate. Okay, go away. And then we sort by descending. What do you notice? Aggro Demon Hunter, Ravenous Cliff Dive Demon Hunter, so on and so forth. But if you click them, Perils in Paradise, Whizbangs, another Whizbangs. That's a new card from Across the Timeways. Another Perils in Paradise, I believe. That could be Whizbangs. It's so hard to see the actual icon. Perils, Core, Perils, Core, Whizbangs, Perils, brand new. So where does this go after this? After the Perils, after rotation? That's kind of what I'm talking about here. Like, where does this all go after rotation? I have a feeling that this deck will fall off a cliff, figuratively speaking, when that happens. Because you're going to lose Acupuncture. You're going to lose Red Card. You're going to lose your Arana Thrillseeker. You're going to lose Hot Coals. You're going to lose a lot of the teeth that this deck has. And that's just one of them. Like, Pain Demon Hunter, this deck is dead on arrival post-rotation. Because you won't have Acupuncture, you won't have Red Card again, you won't have Hot Coals, you won't have... wow, they didn't actually put, what's this called in there? The 2-mana Priest one for where it's... What is it called? It's not Acupuncture. What is that called? The... Shadowleaf Tea? I think it's called Shadowleaf Tea. They don't have that one in here. I'm surprised. But those things will fall off a cliff. Now, if you take a look, Ravenous Cliff Dive Demon Hunter, again, you have cards that are Caulifero the Artist, Whizbangs, Magtheridon Unleash, Perils, not Perils, but Whizbangs. Cliff Dive is Perils, and a lot of this, again, it's just gonna fall off. Nobody's gonna play it post-rotation. They might play it in Wild, but they're not going to play it, obviously, in Standard. And you're not going to have a way to kind of deal with it because it's going to be gone. Same way with this one, which is a very popular deck lately. The win rate was almost 70% when it came out. And it's down to a 33% win rate from time to time. But yes, it has a couple of new cards. It has Broxgar in it and whatnot, but it still relies heavily on things like Spirit Peddler from Perils, Whizbangs. See here, Ziliax again from Whizbangs, Return Policy from Whizbangs, and Red Card from Whizbangs. And the fact that it keeps relying on these cards rotationally is what I'm getting at. This is the problem I was alluding to in the previous video. This still exists because of this. Again, if we sort by win rate, Quest Warrior. Let's take a look at how many of these cards are new. Or how many cards are the new cards? Enter the Lost City. Elise. Shelnado. Ancient of Yore. That was it. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3. Oh, Blob of Tar. 4. Ancient of Yore. 5. I don't count Core because Core is always going to be there unless they rotate it. Yeah, like 5 cards, maybe 6. The rest of it's all old power creep. And I get that they're trying to want to slow the game down, but come on. There's a way to do it and not have this same power creep. Now this one is a more respectable set because it has older cards in it, or it has newer cards in it. Dark Rider, Broodkeeper, Creature of Madness, Shadowflame Suffusion, Portal Vanguard, Dragon Turtle, Elise, Xavius, Endbringer Umbra, Windpeak Worm, Fire Act the Blazing, Tortola. Rather respectable set. Uses a lot of the newer cards. It still has power to it. But it's like, it still has half of its library. But again, the win rate, 60.8%. Notice how the win rates are pretty much the same here. And a lot of these are using newer cards. Like, this is a Dragon Warrior that uses even more newer cards. Dark Rider, Sanguine Depths is core, so that you can't, you know, that could be just added in no matter what. Broodkeeper, Precursory Strike, brand new card. Stone Carver, Portal Vanguard, Illusory Greenwing, Lord Xavius. He's core, so you could just kind of throw him in there too. Stadium Announcer, who's absolutely bonkers of a card. Curator's core, Brawl Blood Fighter, Logosh, which is the 3 cards here. It comes with Logosh, though. Great Dracorex and Windpeak Worm. Again, still a wonderful deck. Petal Peddler is also new, too. The only old card he has is, like, Gift Wrapped Whelp and Plucky Paint Fin. Not that you need it. Oh, and Quality Assurance. But you don't even need those because you could just run other filler cards that could fill that role. This is a gorgeous deck because it's new curve, right? You could even slot in Quest in here. This will keep you alive with a Quest, and then the Quest gives you extra longevity. So it's crazy. But these are all good decks, though, right? And then you start getting to, like, Dummy Warrior, where you could see the old cards, like, not so much Crazed Alchemist, because that's core. But, like, Quality Assurance, Safety Goggles, All You Can Eat, Boom Wrench, Mixologist. Wait, is Mixologist? That's Perils, right? Yeah, I think that's Perils. I think that's Perils in Paradise. Yeah, that's Perils. So the Mixologist, Recommend Deckham, Carnivorous Cubicle, Chemical Spill, Testing Dummy, Inventor Boom, Unkiliax. It's like a lot of them are just heavily reliant on older cards. And it just gets ridiculous. But you'll notice, like, they are some of the higher win rates being the older cards. And some of the newer cards, like this one right here, is surprising. Cheapest Chips, Cheap and Cheerful, 6,700 dust, and it's got a 60% win rate of 600 games. So that's a respectable win rate, to be honest with you. Then we get to this one. This one is a Pustulant Tumor on the entire game. Now, I don't mind the whole Bwonsamdi. I think that's a great Fabled card. I think, I can't remember what I rated it, but I think I rated it pretty good in terms of what it was. Like, I'll have to go back and check my my tier list. But I think I rated it like a B or a C tier. I don't think I rated it a terrible card. I think it's a pretty decent card. But see, look at this new card. You know, Swarm, Morbid Swarm, Ancient Raptor. That's new. That's new. That's old. But like these right here, the Leeches is just toxic gameplay, if you ask me. Whelp of the Infinite, Elise, you know, these are all new. Xavius, Sanguine, Talanji. Corpse Explosion is, I think, core. I think that's core. Reanimated Pterodax is new. Bwonsamdi. Maladar is going to cycle, which is fine and dandy. It's great. That's going to cycle. That's great. That's going to cycle. That's great. But the rest of this stuff is, like, there's only 3 or 4 cards in this that are older cards. Still a toxic deck, don't get me wrong, because the stupid leeches never seem to... You can never seem to get enough health off the DK for it to matter. But as you can see, Bwonsamdi, Leech, Bwonsamdi, and Space Death Knight fell off a cliff. Used to be like the winningest deck, and now it's no longer there because Bwonsamdi is just better at what it does. And you, again, like, I'm not even looking at the highest win rates, but that was just games. Look at the highest win rate. Leech, 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 Leech. Frost DK, which is, this is a weird win rate. 230 games, though, so there's not a whole lot of games on that one. But still, leeches, Bwonsamdi, leeches, and each one of the Bwonsamdi decks has leeches in it. So it's just Leech DK with a new card slotted in. So DK is going to be really a stupid deck in the future. Now let's go to the win rate here. Garona Rogue. And you can see the Garona Rogues and the Fyrakk Rogue pretty concurrent for a win rate. There's a lot of Garona Rogues. But it isn't Garona that's winning you the game. What is it that's winning you the game? Sandbox Scoundrel. You play this, you get the miniaturized version. You hold the miniaturized version. You then go miniaturized Sandbox into Shadow Step into miniaturized Sandbox. Or you go miniaturized Sandbox, Shadow Step, Fyrakk to Blazing, miniaturized Sandbox into another Fyrakk to Blazing if you Shadow Step the Fyrakk. And you could do this on like turn 10. Dirt cheap. You could also play Foxy Fraud. Next combo card costs 2 less this turn, which you could just combo into any of your actual combo cards, which is Dubious Purchase, costs 2. That's an absolute toxic card. But you can see what I'm getting at here. It's ridiculous. You could just cheat out all this stuff out way early. Fyrakk is one of them that you could do. You don't actually need the Garona to win, because Fyrakk does the same thing. Fyrakk Rogue is essentially the same thing. Because then you could just do Narlax, one of the Scoundrels, into Fyrakk the Blazing for 0, because it costs 1 with Narlax. Then it would play for 0 here, then you Shadow Step it, or you use the... What's this called? They don't have it here. Let's just say the 2 mana, pull it back, summons to a 4/4. And you just keep popping Fyrakk back and forth. Of course, Shaladrossel would then become corrupt after you've played the 1. So that's what happens there. And as you can see, all the rogue ones are Garona, Fyrakk, Garona, Fyrakk. Where's a rogue that's not Garona or Fyrakk anymore? Incendious Rogue. This is also going to rotate. You're gonna have things like Space Rock Collector that rotates. You're gonna have Twisted Web Weaver that's there. That's fine. Kingslayers, that's from Garona. Everburning Phoenix is one of the newer ones, right? I think so. Yeah, that's fine. Ethereal Oracle's gonna rotate, and that's how you win the game. What you do is you Chronolord, you Sandbox Scoundrel again into Chronolord Deos, into bouncing this into Sandbox Scoundrel Incendious on 10, which then doubles your battle cries, and so on and so forth. And then you just... It shuffles 10 of those in. You wait until the end of the turn. Incendious then procs it twice. They're all worth 3. So there's 10 of them in there. That's 30 damage if they all did 1. But now they do... What? I think it's 2 damage apiece? 3 damage apiece? I think that's what that does. I think they do 3 damage apiece because it doubles up the end of turn. So it doubles up the end of turn, so now they're all doing 3 damage apiece. And then the very next turn, if they don't kill you, you just drop a Ethereal Oracle and play a card. Play a spell. Because then it does spell damage +1 that makes them 4 damage apiece, draw 2 spells. They count as spells, casts when drawn. And because you have 10 of them in your deck, they each do 4 damage apiece. That's 40. Yeah. one turn kill. Now you could do this even more if you had the 4 mana Elise. You make a 1/1 copy of Deos, and then you're shuffling 15 of them into the deck, and they gain 3 at the end of the turn, which makes them 4. Then you Ethereal Oracle, that's 5, and now you're talking 75 damage. Can't wait for it to rotate out. But this is the first time you see something different than Garona or Fyrakk Rogue in the first, 30 rogues for win rate? Is what I'm saying. Like, this is the meta now. There's one deck you play against. It's either Fyrakk Rogue or Garona Rogue, but here's the kicker. Garona Rogue's got Fyrakk in it. It's the same thing. Same exact thing. So you get a win rate. Beast Hunter, Beast Hunter, Beast Hunter. Wow. Neri Hunter. Shocking. Let's see something about Neri Hunter. Let's see what it's got that's old cards that are going to cycle. Well, there's one. So far there's one. Oh, there's 2. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5. 5 cards out of a 30-card deck cycling. Not bad. That's a solid deck. I like that. I mean, could you make that deck without those cards? Probably. Probably. Let's take a look at the most popular win rate deck. It's got 4,000 games. Now, mind you, there were 2 copies in there, so I'm saying 5, so there's probably more than that. But anyway, let's take a look at all the older cards here. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5. There's 6. There's 7. There's 8. 8 cards. So you figure, let's see, times 2. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. More than half the deck gone inside of a couple months. Should be immediate. But that's what I'm saying. Like, these win rates, they're going to plummet. Because half that deck is just going to get shredded. Then they have to find another way to deal with it. They have to find another way to play around it. But outside of Neri Hunter, it's basically, what's this Face Hunter? Oh, yeah, this is just Aggro Hunter. Aggro Demon Hunter with King Malak and the Haywire and Power module. That's all it is. Discover Hunter, which is going to rotate a lot of cards. But you see what I'm getting at. The higher win rate decks have a lot of the older cards in it. They don't have a lot of the newer cards in it. And this is why they need to rotate on the final expansion. So when the final expansion launched, it should have rotated those past 3 expansions. Give it a month. Let's just say not even a month. Give it 2 weeks. New expansion lands, you got 2 weeks. Then we rotate. Do it before New Year's. Do it before Christmas. Because every year they bring out 3 expansions to Hearthstone. And then they bring out 3 mini sets. This year they brought out Un'Goro, Emerald Dream Un'Goro in that order. Emerald Dream Un'Goro, and then Across the Timeways. And then they brought out mini sets. So they're bringing out effectively 6 expansions. Because the mini sets are kind of like mini expansions. They do add a lot of power to the cards, a lot of power to the decks and everything. And that's almost like 1 every 2 months. Okay. Well, there goes my... As soon as the final expansion drops, or the final mini set drops, just stop doing it. Like, I hate to say it, but just get rid of it. Right? Rotate. Showdown in the Badlands. It's the very same thing, right? They nerfed Reno Jackson, the hero portrait, out of Showdown in the Badlands 3 times before they rotated it. And then they waited to rotate it, but they still had to nerf it 3 times. because it was warping the game around it, and that's what these cards are doing. That's what these older cards are doing. A lot of the stuff from the Great Dark Beyond is just warping the game around it. And it's not right. The one thing it should not do is you shouldn't have that. But we'll see here. Win rate. Shred Warlock. Okay? Catacombs, Entropic Continuity, Imp, Whelp. That's going to cycle. That one's fine. That's cycling. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11, 12. 12 cards. 1/3 of the deck gone. And with that, the win rate will drop precipitously. Because you're no longer getting direct damage from Corpsicle. You're no longer getting Horizon's Edge with Summoner Darkmarrow. You're no longer getting the double Death Rattle if you need it on anything. You're no longer getting Dreamplaner Zephrys to go face damage. You're just not getting those things. So a lot of that deck's win rate will fall. Egg Warlock. You can already see it already has the runes on it, which means Perils in Paradise. So those are fine. That's fine. Those are gone. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 cards. Again, 1/3 of the deck. And yes, if you could see the played win rate, the cards that are giving them the most strength. Summoner Darkmarrow, 70% win rate. Eternal Layover, 62. Kalos obviously is the whole purpose of the deck at 64. Nidus Worm, 65. Dissolving Ooze is a little weird that gives them that much win rate, but you could see it there. Eat the Imp. Archdruid of Thorns, but that one's a newer card, and that goes with the Egg of Kalos, because then you play Archdruid of Thorns, you get the Egg of Kalos, but you play it with Summoner Darkmarrow so that these die on impact, which gives you more eggs. That's the whole point. You make a whole board full of them. How does that work, though? When you play Summoner Darkmarrow and then you play Egg of Kalos, it dies, it summons a new one after you play a Death Rattle. So, okay, yeah, the final egg doesn't work. Abusive Sergeant, obviously, you can use that for the egg so that it can attack and you can swing into things and kill it. But as you can see, a lot of the win rate is based on cards that are from older sets. The StarCraft expansion alone received a lot of nerfs because it was too powerful. Not a single Warlock deck here does not use... here we go. This is one that does not use Perils in Paradise Tourist card. 58% win rate with 1,100 games. Let's take a look. Doesn't use the Tourist card, though. Imp. So we have 2 here. There's 2. 4, 5. Or 3, 4. Sorry. I like this deck. It's only got 4 cards. It uses Tortollan Storyteller. And it's basically Menagerie Warlock. So if you did this and then curved into the Menagerie on a higher... Like if you had the Menagerie Jug on like 4 or 5... That would be huge because you have dragons, you have beasts, you have, not that beast, but you have undead murlocs, you have elementals. Let's say you scrap the gift wrap whelps, and let's say you scrap the zerglings. You have demons, you have undead, you're still going to get the bonuses from Tortollan Storyteller. It's quick to get them out. You use Cursed Catacombs to fetch stuff. It's a really nice deck. I think it's cool. 2,800 things. I'm gonna copy that deck and I'm gonna make a different version of it. I'm gonna take out the gift wrapped in the other one. That one's cool. I like that idea. Another Shred Warlock, but you can see it already uses Ziliax. It uses like Dreambound Raptor is okay because that's kind of crazy. It still uses gift wrap whelp. This one uses Sizzling Cinder, which is kind of cool. It uses Party Fiend, which I don't like. It uses Zergling, which I don't like. It has Razadier, but I don't have Razadier. Razadier's kind of nice, though. If you can get that doubled battle cry with Deos, ugh, discarding 2 cards from their hand, crazy. Shred, shred, shred. That one's a shred, but it's got Dark Marrow in it because it's got Dreadhound Handler and it's got Corpsicles. As you can see, like, you even get down to Quest Warlock. And again, they're still using Perils in Paradise cards. It's almost like these decks aren't going to work when you take them away. If you were to take away the Perils cards, these decks would just not have the win rate. And that's kind of weird because, like I was saying earlier, I said it in the earlier thing, they did it in the Witchwood. And I'll even say it in this one. They did it in the Witchwood. They rotated Gen and Baku because it just morphed the game around it, right? They nerfed... There goes my camera. Oh. They nerfed him 3 times, right? Because he was warping the game around him. I had a no minion Reno Mage. I had a no minion Reno Shaman. And it was just literally warping the game around it. And the thing about it was, these people nerf these cards, and then when they go to Wild, they become unnerfed. Okay, fine and dandy. Which means you didn't want it ruining your standard experience. I get that. These Perils in Paradise cards were fine when they first came out because they were kind of balanced with the other Perils cards. And everybody was playing Perils decks, and everybody had some of the older cards from previous expansion, which I believe was... You still had Showdown in the Badlands. You still had all the Showdown in the Badlands. You still had the Perils in Paradise cards. So there was some there was still some stuff kind of coming and going and bleeding over here. But as soon as the StarCraft set came out, that went bananas. And it was hard to combat the StarCraft decks. And a lot of them got hit with the Nerf bat right in the skull. And then when they rotate to Wild, they're going to get unnerfed. You watch. Because they're going to need to be able to compete with the other decks in Wild. So instead of doing that, Blizzard, rotate them. Rotate them early. It's much easier. But you have Agamagon Warlock, which is, like, newer. It's a newer deck. But again, it still has things like Eat the Imp. It still has things like Consume. It has Kerrigan. It has Rafaam. Not Rafaam. It has Agamagon. And then, of course, you have this Rafaam Warlock, which... My Rafaam Warlock isn't anything like this. But the win rate is 50-50. Is it fun? Yeah, it's a lot of fun, because Rafaam is just great to play. Especially when they say things like, you know, do not call me Tiny Rafaam. Love it. Love Tiny Rafaam. But as you can see, a lot of these Rafaam decks are just... They're just loaded with cards that are from Perils, from Whizbangs, and it's like, try it without them. Just try it without them. It doesn't work as well. That shows how much of a power structure these cards have. And that's not a good thing. You don't want that, because then it's saying, hey, why even get the newer cards when you could just get the older cards and you're as strong as players that just start and have just the new cards? Like, if you were to take an account, right? And let's say I gave an account 40 free packs. It said, okay, 40 free packs. Open them. If you chose Great Dark Beyond, Perils, if you chose the previous expansion, the previous 3, and you said, I am only going to be able to open 40 packs from each of these expansions. Okay? And then these other people said, I'm going to open 40 packs from the newest expansions, Ungoro, etc., and so on. Okay? Even without the latest mini set, Perils in Paradise is still stronger. That's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. Because you want, as a company, and you want, as a game, you want to inspire people to come out and get the new cards. You want to make them so that they're appealing and offer up a strategy, but are not game-breaking or power-creeping to a degree you don't want it to end up like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's like, oh, coin flip. Did you win the coin flip? No. Good. You lose. Because you didn't win the coin flip, the other guy gets to choose to go second. And then he just gets to destroy you on turn 1. If he doesn't destroy you on turn 1, he destroys you on turn 2. You've just played a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you get to turn 5, I would be astonished. My experience from playing Deck Masters, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters or whatever, I didn't live past turn 1. I'd even opt to go second. And the opponent would get to go first. I'd get to go. I didn't have something that could take care of what he had. Goes to his turn, I'm dead. And that was Yu-Gi-Oh! In a nutshell. And that's what this will be if they keep doing what they're doing. And it's silly. And let's go to, not games, but let's go to win rate. Yeah, there's only 380 games. Better yet, let's go here. Oh, look, Quest Paladin. We're told by people on the forums at Hearthstone and on Twitter, Quest Paladin's one of the easiest decks to beat if you know what you're doing. Does that win rate say? Oh, that's right. 65.7%. 65. Oh, but wait. Maybe it's just because it's a specific deck. Oh, wait, no, right. There's another Quest Paladin that's got 65% win rate. And then another was 65. One was 64. 63 is an Aggro Paladin. That's new and different. But what's in the Aggro Paladin? It's Menagerie Paladin, essentially. That's all it is. And then you just play Crusader Aura on 4, and you win by then. Essentially. So it's like if you don't win by turn 4 or turn 5, you've pretty much lost with Aggro Paladin. Which, it's gonna, to be honest with you, it's going to be hard to beat this. As you think about it, think about removal, right? The cheapest removal spell is, what, Hellfire for Warlocks at 3? Maybe I think the new mage spell, it's 3 damage to a target and then 2 damage to 2 others at random from across the timeways. I think Arcane Barrage or something like that. I think it's Barrage. Anyway, that spell, potentially, I guess that might be 2 mana. That's not even a board clear. That's just some control. That's some removal. What other removal is there? The daggers, the not Fan of Knives, but Chrono Daggers or whatever it's called for Rogue. It's also 3 mana. Eternal Layover's 4. And even then, it doesn't kill him. It just gives him Reborn, brings him back with 1 HP. So you'd have to play Eternal Layover into... On turn 3, you'd have to play Ultralisk Cavern into Eternal Layover. So if you're doing that, I mean, if you're doing that, you're not playing an aggro warlock. You're playing a control, almost like tempo warlock. So, like, how do you beat aggro paladin? By the time turn 3, turn 4 comes, if you don't have a board clear, or if you don't have a form of control, you've lost. Because turn 4 comes, he's got the aura in hand, he drops it, and now everything gets +1/+2, or +2/+1. That's what it is, +2/+1. Yep. And it's core, so it's not even gonna dissipate. So you're dead by turn 4, essentially. Because then you're not gonna, if you don't get the control by 4, you won't be able to get control afterward to keep them all alive. And then of course you have this: summon a 1/2 mech with Divine Shield and Taunt, give your minions 1/2. It's ridiculous. That's it, I guess, if you need a taunt to prevent them from going phase. But if you notice, it's all Quest Paladin and Aggro Paladin. There's the... wait, was there an Aura Paladin up here? No. It's all Aggro and Quest. Here's your first Aura Paladin. It's 10,000 games, 60% win rate. And it ends in still using Fyrak, Gelbin, Anachronos, Bob, Sun the Sapper, Lanessa, Dorian. Like... Tiger's plushie. But it's crazy. And again, it's a lot of older cards. If you take a look at it, there's 2, 4, 6, Let's see, 6, 7, 8. I don't know if Bob's gonna rotate or not. It's hard telling. Eight cards, so still even 1/3, because it's fabled. So there's 2 cards that need to be removed there. So you're still talking like 8 cards is still 1/3 of the deck. 1/3 of the deck is older stuff, and and look at that, 60% win rate with 10,000 games logged. 60%. So basically, you coin flip, and 2/3 of the time you're just gonna win, and then it's back down to more quest and aggro. And then there's of course Linessa, which is, I think this is Linessa Libram Paladin. Nope, it's just Linessa Burn Paladin. With again, it's still Aura. It's not even Linessa Paladin. It's still Aura Paladin. Same thing. But again, once they cycle some of these cards, it's still going to be very strong. Other decks won't be that strong. So something is in this Paladin deck where people have tried it and it didn't work out, and it's lowered their overall win rate. Imbue Paladin will make a comeback too, because that's just going to get disgusting with auras. You just do an aura Imbue Paladin, you'll be perfectly fine. So you have Elemental Shaman, which I think I've seen once, and it just is, I mean, admittedly it's all newer cards, which I have to hand it, except for Fire. Well, yeah, even Fire Breath's newer. I have to hand it to this deck, except for Turbulus. Turbulus is terrible. Turbulus is an older card, but because that's a Whizbangs card, isn't it? Oh, it's Perils card. And of course, Ultraviolet Berserker, Lamplighter. Can't wait for that to rotate. Remember the brouhaha around Lamplighter? It was Lamplighter Shaman, Lamplighter Mage, and Lamplighter Rogue, and everybody hated him. As you can see, it's just even without Lamplighter, Turbulus, and the Elemental, the Ultraviolet Breaker, even without those cards, you could slot in here for 3 mana. You could slot in Brawl Seer Stone. Your Elementals do 1 extra damage. You could slot in any 3-drop Elemental here. Even you could slot in oh, never mind, they already have Living Flame. You could slot in another one. You could just slot spells in too. That way it says draw a fire spell. You don't have any fire spells. It's all just characters, just creatures, except for Fire Breath, which is your only fire spell. But you could slot in other fire spells too, like Sizzling Cinders. That can be more of a high-end curve. But you can still just slot those in instead of Lamplighter, Ultraviolet Breaker, and this. So there's only 5 cards in this deck. It's a crazy Shaman deck, and it would work. And it's got Esho. Enhancement Shaman is your Static Shock, Murloc Grofin, Bird Watching, yeah. Murden High King, that kind of thing. Nebula Shaman, which uses a lot of older cards too. Ziliax, Pop-Up Book, Bird Watching, yeah. Hagatha, Shutterblock. But you see what I'm saying? Like, even Terran Shaman. Look at the win rate of Terran Shaman, even though it's only 420 games. But that's because they're weaving in new cards. I mean, it's good to see older Terran Shaman are finally falling off, but it's crazy. Like, a lot of I'll give it to Shaman. Shaman got some decent cards in the newer set, and it's kind of making the deck look better. Other than that, it's just, it's all old cards. Protoss Priest, it's all Perils in Paradise. All previous cards. Like, let's take a look. No, I want to take a look at the actual whole deck list. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 15, 17, 19, 20, 22. You'd have 8 cards left post-rotation. Deck is going to be dead on arrival. Yeah, I get it. It's Protoss Priest. But the fact of the matter is, there's nothing else there. There's no other benefit or boon. This goes to show you how strong the set was. How strong the Protoss set was. Especially in the hands of Priest. Then there's Bandage Priest, which uses the Wilted Shadow. But if you notice, it uses Wilted Shadow, and hey, look at that, more tourist cards. For some reason, it can't seem to use other things. And you are, I guess, you're supposed to birdwatch the Wilted Shadow, and then you get your bandages, and you just effectively heal yourself, and then watch this thing just dominate the battlefield. More Protoss Priest, Zarimi Priest, which with all the new dragons that came out makes it even easier to pull off. Especially with Murozond, the new one. Right there. Murozond Unbounded. Battlecry at the start of your next turn, set this minion's attack to infinity. So it's play a whole bunch of cards, play him, play Zarimi, win. Ta-da. Which was no different than before, which was play dragons, play Zarimi, win. Cool. Great. Love it. But as you can see, it's like they're all older cards. Priest is like, I guess the way to talk about the Priest decks is best if used with last generation. Pretty much. That's kind of what you gather from it. Let's see here. We have two more, which is Druid and Mage. Mage looks pathetic. Imbue Druid, which, there you go. Strongest of the strong. Aviana Druid. This is the one that I believe shuffles in. Oh, so it does wave shaping, huh? Innervate. Arcanite Revelation. That rotates. Wave shaping's fine. Astral Phaser rotates. That rotates. That rotates. That rotates. That rotates. And Sky Mother Aviana rotates too. Even though Aviana is an interesting card. I wouldn't mind them leaving Sky Mother Aviana in core. Random legendary mages that cost 1. It's not a bad card. It's a 5/5 for 5. It's not. It's to me that needs to be rotated to core. To be honest with you, because it's not like it's going to break the game to keep it around for the next 2, 3, 5, 20 years. It's not going to break the game because you're shuffling 10 legendary minions into your deck. Okay, cool. It is what it is. That's it. You know, you could high roll good legendaries, you could low roll bad legendaries. There are tons of bad legendaries. They do exist. But as you can see, Druid's kind of struggling with win rate cards. Like, even Chrono Druid struggles. It's like if they can figure out how to do a Chrono Druid or something else, they could do it. And then last, but certainly not least, Mage. Elemental Mage, just like Elemental Shaman, same thing. Just you curve into playing the next big thing. Blazing Accretion, Spontaneous Combustion, Lamplighter, Triple Wick Trickster. I mean, a lot of them are just Solar Flare. They're just gonna disappear. This is what I'm saying. Like, when that's the whole point of making cards rotate quicker, because even Protoss Mage is gonna change. Elemental Mage, Imbue Mage is good, and it'll probably still stick around, but it still uses Ceaseless Expanse. It uses the what's it called? Where is she? Rayala. Or Rayla. Paladin Tourist. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't really keep any of this around. This one uses Skyla. And it's like, can we get away from using those? This one also uses King Tide. But no, we can't get away from using these. Wait for it to rotate. Because once it rotates, what happens? You're going to be left with Quest Mage that doesn't have a whole bunch of Discover cards. You're going to be left with a Quest Mage that's going to have to use the 4 mana card that just came out. Like, take a look at Dragon Mage. Do they even have a Dragon Mage? No. They have Arcane Mage. That's what they're calling it. Let's see. Is there an Arcane Mage that's even good? No. 43% win rate. And even then, it still needs Go with the Flow, which is an older card. It still needs Shield Battery, older card. There's the Barrage, it's 3 mana. So again, even then, it's control options are all 3 mana. You're not going to get a cheaper control option. This is why they need to bring back Defile. They need to rotate Defile back in if they're rotating out certain things like Table Flip, right? They're going to rotate Table Flip, which makes a cheap option for board control for Warlock. Domino Effect was a cheap board control option for Warlock. But yet, every control option is 3 mana. I mean, Domino Effect was technically 4 mana for board control. But it was a ramped up board control. You start at one end and it picks up speed and goes the other end. Table Flip became a cheap board control option, but that's going to rotate. You need to bring back Defile in order to keep up with these aggro decks, because it seems like Hearthstone's losing more control options that are cheap and effective in lieu of picking up aggro. Makes no sense. So, and it still requires buy one get one free, so you could cheese out Sindragosa so you can freeze her and get copies of her, and it uses watercolor artists to get your freezes to become cheaper, even cheaper still. So you use your watercolor artists, it pulls your buy one get one freezes, you use the other one, pulls the other one, that basically reduces your mana cost. Then on 5 you play her, you freeze her twice, and then you just go down the litany of spells. Alter Time is going to see its way into almost every single Quest Mage deck after rotation, because that card is disgusting in Discover, because you can get really good arcane spells. Pretty much every single arcane spell in the past is just bonkers banana. Now, you might see a Sindragosa Quest Mage post-rotation. Also depends on what they get in their mini set. But I think they need to make this 4 mana, I think they need to make him 4 mana, and I think they need to make this 6 mana. And perhaps drop the 5 mana. They don't even have it in here. The one that gives 2 spell damage. They just need to drop that other dragon. Just run these 3, but they need to reduce these costs. These are too expensive for this mage to run, especially after rotation. You're not going to get buy one get one freeze to make your spells cost even less. In order to actively be effective, you have to play both of these things, let them die, summon them back, and hope that your opponent doesn't do anything stupid. And that's just... So, Arcane Mage is the weakest out of all of them. And it looks like a crazy fun deck, but you can't have fun with it. As you take a look at the games you're going to play against, and the games you're going to run into are Elemental Mage. You're going to run into the high win rate decks, because what you're seeing is you have the large plethora of players want to win. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to win at their game. Even I would love to win at my games. But I like to have fun when winning. Because to me, having fun is more important than the win. This is why I love my Rafaam deck. Even though it doesn't win at a high rate, it's just fun to play. And it uses no newer card. It uses none of the older cards. It doesn't use anything that's going to rotate out. I removed all of those, and I made sure it was all stuff that's going to be post-rotation. And it's fun. It's a great deck. It's fun to play. It's fun to just hear Rafaam and hear all the voice lines of Rafaam, and then you get that payoff of you play all of your Rafaams, you play the final one, and you watch the beam go out and just blow up the enemy portrait. Love it. The problem is every time you queue in to Death Knight, you're dead by turn 7, turn 8. You queue against Warrior, you're dead by 7 or 8. You queue against Paladin, you're dead by 5. Depending on if it's Aggro Paladin or Murloc Paladin. If it's Aura Paladin, you're dead by 7. If you queue against Demon Hunter, you're gonna do okay so long as it's the creatureless Demon Hunter. But if it's the Peddler Demon Hunter that's got a lot of rush minions and other stuff like that, you're dead by 5 or 6. If you queue against Rogue, you're dead by 7 or 8 based on the combo. If you queue against Shaman, it's kind of an easy fight, back and forth. You could win it, you could lose it. But for the majority of classes, they're just too fast. Which is antithetical to what Hearthstone said they wanted to do in the first place. Hearthstone was like, well, this year we want to slow the game down. This is why they made Latorvius Quest Warrior. This is why they made the Quest DK, which the quest doesn't get played at all because it's poo. They need to lower it to 10 corpses spent, and they need to bring back the thing. They need to rotate it back in, or it says generates 3 corpses, shuffles, or generates, was it 5 corpses even? Something like that. It generated corpses, and it shuffled a whole bunch of 2/2 zombies into your deck. I would have them even bring back Plague Death Knights. Honestly. And the reason I say this is because Plague Death Knights, you now have Steam Cleaner. Steam Cleaner's in Standard. Steam Cleaner doesn't help anybody. Because there's nothing to scrub out of the deck. People aren't shuffling a whole bunch of stuff into their deck unless it's Incendious Rogue. But by then, you're shuffling a whole bunch of stuff into your deck as Incendious Rogue. You're gonna die. Even if you play Steam Cleaner, what happens? You're still dead. Because they can just pop it back to their hand, play it again. You can't. It's almost like you want to make a deck that's got Dirty Rat, Steam Cleaner, Royal Librarian, and the Dark Knight or something in it, the Black Knight. So you have tech cards that you have Dirty Rat for Rafaam Warlock, which, by the way, if you battle cry out of Rafaam, that doesn't count as if you Dirty Rat out of Rafaam, it doesn't count as being played. Scratches your entire game. True story. So you do that. You play the Librarian for silencing people. You play the Black Knight for destroying a taunt, and you play other specific tech cards like Steam Cleaner to counter Incendious Rogue. You shouldn't have to do that, but that's almost like how the game has to go now. That's a little ridiculous. But I digress. But you can see the perniciousness of the meta and how it's happening. Now, if you want to see something funny, Wild. Look who's the worst in Wild. Look who's the best in Wild. It's almost inverted. Weird how that is, huh? Ain't that just weird? Then you go to Arena and forget it. Because Arena is mostly the same stuff. It's mostly standard. So when you do Arena, it's mostly standard cards anyway. Which is why the difference isn't that high between standard and Arena. And Drew is just at the low end of the stick. And they're just at the shallow end of the dream pool. But I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'm hoping this kind of enlightens people that if you're not fluent in Hearthstone, you're seeing what I'm seeing here, why I'm calling for rotation early, and it should be, because it's just you get to the point where you're going to have a whole bunch of lopsided decks or decks that are currently lopsided, that if they change and they rotate them early, which isn't nothing new. This isn't like the previous rant that I did in the Pal World game, where, this is not asking them to fix something that's broken. This is just saying rotate early. They could. They've done it before. It doesn't really ruin the game. It doesn't break the game. It doesn't really change anything, except it rotates cards. So just rotate some expansions early. Even if it's the first 2 of the set. Leave in the Great Dark Beyond, but rotate the first 2. Rotate Perils and rotate Whizbangs. There you go. Now you've got your last 3, and then you can rotate Perils. Because then you'd have a constant rotation. So you have your first 3 here, and as they go, you bring out they brought out what's it called? Not Ungoro. They brought out the World Tree Hyjal one, whatever. They brought that one out. They bring that out. They should have rotated Whizbangs. Then the next set they brought out, they should have rotated the Ungoro set they brought out. They should have rotated Perils. Then on this final set, they should have rotated the Great Dark Beyond. That way you have 5 sets you're basically working with throughout the entire year on a rotational year. Then when February rolls around, they roll out a new set, and then they rotate the old set. It gives you 1 year in which to play the cards. But the way they run it is you get to see the same set of cards for almost 2 years. It's a year and 3/4 at the very most, and a year at the least. And it's disgusting. Like I don't. The Great Dark Beyond was so powerful that they nerfed it the most. They nerfed Ceaseless Expanse. They nerfed Kil'jaeden because it used to be an endless portal. It's now capped. If you can force them to draw like more than 30 cards in a turn, they draw out. But the portal used to be endless. They nerfed all of the Protoss. They nerfed the Protoss cards, some of them. They nerfed pretty much all of the Zerg sets, except for Demon Hunter, because it was just weak. They nerfed a lot of the Terran sets because it was too strong. And it's like, right there should tell you what you've done. You went too far, you went too hard, and what did you get? Now you have a disgusting, bloated, runaway expansion. And a lot of them have been nerfed and are no longer playable. Like you saw the Terran Shaman, it's not really that playable. Terran Warrior has made a comeback now. Terran Warrior now is Quest Terran Warrior. It's ridiculous. Because you just lose to that one on turn 8. Because the Thor comes in and just blows up something for 5 damage and then goes to the hero's face for 5 damage. Then they play Exodar and it's over. But you see what I mean? It's like there was other archetypes that never really landed, like Draenei Warrior with a comma. That would have been great, but nope. Nope. Ruined it. It's like they don't understand. I just think they should rotate certain things early, that's all. It's like if you start seeing a problem with a deck, just start not just a deck, if you start seeing a problem with a full expansion and you have to nerf a card multiple times or you have to nerf multiple cards in that set, it's time to rotate it early. Instead of just sitting here trying to balance it and wasting people's time and getting people to be disgruntled over the product, just rotate it. Just rotate the product. Just say, nope, we made a mistake. And rotate it to one album. But I digress. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it gave people who are unfamiliar with Hearthstone a kind of a glimpse into what I'm talking about when I say certain things are just unfun play patterns and so on and so forth. I hope people get a glimpse into that, and I hope people can kind of see where I'm coming from. I'm not saying that these decks should be eliminated. I'm just saying make the rotation come early, force players to start playing with other cards that you as a company have taken time to say, hey, we made these, use them. And players are like, no, these other cards are better. Well, then why'd you make the new ones? Don't even bother. At any rate, I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one.